Wisconsin became part of the Union on May 29, 1848. America's Dairyland, home of the Green Bay Packers, the original site of the Playboy Mansion, Culver's, and enough beer, brats, and cheese to fill all the major food groups. Birthplace of Willem Dafoe, Heather Graham, Liberace, Bob Uecker, Tony Shalhoub, Red Foreman, Ed Gein, Jeffrey Dahmer. Some of the strangest alien abduction cases have occurred here. It is said that Slender Man himself resides in the darkest part of the North Woods. It's had its own version of the Salem witch trials. For these reasons and many others, America's Dairyland is also America's Scaryland!
We welcome you to another episode of America's Scaryland.
Hello.
That is Jake.
Yeah, and I'm sitting next to Nick.
That's right. Welcome back once again for another creepy tale of yet another creepy location in Wisconsin.
This one's good.
To date, this is the creepiest one so far.
My hands
like
rubbing together.
God. So I will just get this out of the way before you do any of your pre-house cleaning. I have said this before, and I truthfully mean this with all authenticity that I can muster and from the bottom of my heart. I am a giant coward. I still question why I agreed to do this podcast, putting myself in creepy situations. I don't know. Could be that, one of my best friends convinced me to do it. I don't know. There's a lot of reasons. There's more reasons why I shouldn't be doing this than there is to do it.
Well, and the funniest thing about it is, again, let's go to our now famous America's Scaryland scale of how much do you believe? 0 being you don't believe in shit, 10 being you're the fucking most believer.
Yes.
You rank yourself between 1 and 2.
Yes, I do.
So you don't really believe in this stuff.
Again, it comes down to like I've not seen anything. I've never had a paranormal experience. So I'm super infatuated with it, but I've never seen anything that makes me believe yet. So, and I will let you know right here on this podcast. You will be the first to know if I ever have any sort of experiences like that.
Yeah, because the podcast will be over because Nick will be like, no more.
That or I'll be dead.
Or that.
But I do not, and I will not. This is you can guarantee this. I will never fake my fear in any situation.
Or lack thereof.
Ridicule be damned. I don't care. So most people who know me have never been in these situations with me, save for a few. I mean, Randy Stewart, I know you're going to be listening to this, and I know you and I have been to a haunted house together with another person, and you know how that happened. And if any of my friends from Virginia are listening, you know how that haunted house experience went. So
we need to go to a haunted house together.
You can attest to my disdain for just haunted houses, so extrapolate that to real life scary places because... yeah.
Oh, we're diving in today. But before we dive into the topic of this week...
we have yet to come up with a name for this segment, but it'll get there.
Tales from the Facebook. Not a good title.
No, it's not.
Whatever.
I liked What Would Booze Do?
What Would Booze Do? Which,
it's a thing now. It's definitely a thing. Jake, I run the Facebook page. Jake runs the Twitter. I think we're sharing the Instagram. So, if you reply to Twitter, you're going to get Jake. If you do Facebook, typically me. That's not set in stone either. But
we see it all.
Jake has been asking me I post every morning on the Facebook, the America's Scaryland Facebook. And Jake has taken upon himself to start asking me my thoughts on my own posts, which...
because we never get your side of it. You throw the question out there, you expect answers, but you never give them. So this week... and it's relevant to this topic. What are your thoughts on ghosts? Are they trapped between two realms? Are they souls trapped in limbo? What do you think they are? There are tons of theories. Please share your own beliefs on what you think ghosts are. That was the question that you posted.
I remember that one.
Sir Booze, what are ghosts?
Again, this comes down to I'm a 2. The America's Scaryland scale of belief. We'll come up with a better acronym for that at some point. But I'm a 2. Again, not had any experiences. My thoughts on it, I mean, without diving into like religious or physiological or psychological things, I don't know. Like, that's partly why I posted that, to see what other people thought. Like, I subscribe to everything and I subscribe to nothing. Like, what are they? I don't know. They could be our souls trapped between heaven and hell. They could be beings trapped between parallel universes. I mean, when we move on, you know, it could be we just move to a different plane of existence. That could be it. You know, this is not. This isn't an interesting response because I just don't know. I don't have any good. I don't have any good feedback for this. Like,
Well, let me throw a theory to you because this is kind of I've thought about it what ghosts are, and I on the American Scaryland scale of belief, if we keep saying it, it'll stay that way.
that's right.
I am at a 7, probably an 8. I'm up there. I believe in these things. I'm super open to it. I want stuff to be real, and to me, I've thought about what ghosts are, and I don't subscribe to the idea, like the religious beliefs of it. It being our souls or our spirits, questionable. It being humans from high amounts of energy left behind, more believable to me. But one theory that I like is the idea that they are essentially glitches
In the Matrix?
In the Matrix, essentially, but from alternate dimensions.
Yeah, that's kind of the paranormal or the parallel universe.
The parallelogram.
Yeah, the parallel.
How many of those words do you know?
How many L's are in the language of English?
Yeah, in the parallel universe.
2, by the way, if you're counting that phrase, English and language, which have an L in.
Okay,
Yeah.
that fell apart quick.
Anyway, no, I mean, again, I keep coming back to this. I've not had an experience. I mean, my mom, the other weekend when we were up north, she had told me that thing about my grandpa, and that's the first time my mom's ever told me anything. I won't delve into it this episode, but it was kind of a really interesting story that she told me that I've never known my mom to, like, I'm not going to say not believe. It's not like we sat around the campfire growing up telling ghost stories and stuff.
Right.
Like,
Well, and that story was very much, I would put that more in the realm of like a spiritual experience,
Yeah.
as opposed to a ghostly experience.
yeah, and that's actually, she posed the question, which I had never really thought of either, but like, is there a difference between like ghosts, specters, like all the synonyms for ghosts and stuff like that? Is there a difference between them? And the only one I truthfully think of is like, you know, you have ghost, specter, apparition, whatever. I think those are all the same, but then you have like demon. And like, I distinctly think there's a difference between those two, where like ghosts, yeah, they haunt and sometimes they're scary and that sort of thing. But on one hand, most of those stories seem playful in nature, whereas any story you've ever heard about a demon is just inherently evil and just, yeah, messes you up.
That's fair.
So, but this week we are going to tackle Weary Road.
Yep. So we traveled to Evansville, here in the great state of Wisconsin, to check out a stretch of highway. I mean, that's an overstatement. It's not really a highway.
It's
but
back roads.
It's a back road. It's pretty well known, especially in that area of Evansville, amongst the high school teenage crowd, as a nice little urban legend. So to set the stage, what Weary Road is or was the location of supposedly a very rich man. Owned a lot of, if not most of the land that Evansville now sits on, and he lived out on there in this big house, and he's just known as Old Man Weary. And the story goes that he was very much into kids. He liked to play with them. He would have them over, and it got around when you're
He
hanging
was a
out.
pedo.
Neverland Ranch comes to mind.
It does. I had that thought this morning when we were checking it out. Again, this is a precedent for us too, because this is the first episode we've recorded on the same day that we actually went to the location.
Yeah,
so
we're
hooray
fresh,
for us
we're
for being
fresh back.
professionals. So this is the most fresh episode you will have to date.
But yeah, so the parents in the area with Mr. Old Man Weary, they decided to go Freddy Krueger on him, and they burned his house down. They're like, we don't.
Wouldn't going Freddy Krueger on him be like the parents entered his dreams and killed him in his dreams? Like, I would say it's more of like a Frankenstein. Like, they marched with pickaxes and torches and went to burn his house down.
Yes, all the same thing.
Okay.
But yes, so they burned his house down, killing him, and apparently some kids were still in the house. Now, depending on which story,
Obviously, the parents of those kids were not involved in the arson.
I would hope not. Otherwise, they're like, go into Old Man Weary's house. I don't like you. But Child murder is not good.
No, we don't condone it.
Not at all. Depending on which side of the story that you read and take on, is that it turns out that maybe Mr. Old Man Weary wasn't a pedophile. He just he was a happy old guy, liked to share things. So now this stretch of road is haunted by Old Man Weary and some of the kids that died there.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe. There's also a lot, before we get into like the hauntings of Old Man Weary, there's a few other stories from that road kind of lead to it being haunted. Apparently a lot of car accidents are supposed to have happened out there.
I mean, having been on it, it makes sense. Like if there were, it's a narrow road.
It's narrow. There's a couple tight curves, especially the first one that leads over.
It's a step up. It's us, like, and I'm not exaggerating when I say like a slight step up from a dirt road.
Yeah.
It's like,
and it's about the size of a bike trail. It's a car. It's a car and a half, maybe.
It's not. Yeah, barely.
And the first curve, it's a tight, almost 90-degree left turn over a tiny little bridge over a creek.
Creepy ass tiny. It is the dumbest spot in the history I've ever seen a bridge put. I've never seen a bridge put in such a stupid location in all my life.
It's if you're not ready for it, it sneaks up on you.
Yeah. It's not, you heading there, you told me it was windy. It's not as windy as I had envisioned, but it is tight, and it is the like 3 turns that are on it are like they sneak up on you. And you know, if you're already going there with the premise of like it's haunted, you're gonna just be like, oh yeah, roads, they do stuff like turn.
Yeah.
And you're gonna forget about it.
So there's stories of there was one story of a kid that went car surfing out there and fell off the car. There's another story of kids going out there turning their lights off and playing chicken and misjudging distance.
And again,
head-on collision.
Seeing how big this road is, that is a terrible, terrible, terrible idea.
From the evidence gathered from everything, I don't think any of those, if they happened, they weren't really reported as major stories.
Yeah.
But there's no like specific like on this day this happened. So there's a lot of.
And the other thing too about the car accidents that like I'm just thinking about now, and again, when we get into our experience, you'll understand why I wasn't focused on this. There was no like most of the time in any sort of situation you hear about like a car accident, and then like you said, there was really nothing reported or anything. But even still, if nothing's reported, there's still like a lot of people go and put crosses there. Okay, it was 3 a.m, it was 4 a.m, but I don't remember seeing like nothing of that sort like caught my.
No, there was nothing. Once you get into the area of the road that is supposed to be haunted, there was nothing.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not saying that there's not credibility to those stories, but, you know, it definitely seems like, you know, a place where teenagers go and dare each other, like, oh, I dare you to do this. And, I mean, it has every bit about it. I mean,
yeah, because on this stretch of road, there's been reports of seeing like phantom trains.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you have to cross the train tracks to get there.
Phantom cars that aren't there, or motorcycles.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's necessarily seeing these things or hearing them, which is a whole different thing. There's stories of lights out there.
Yeah.
And then there's a weird story of seeing some sort of creature in the trees, which, with it being as dark as it was, couldn't really see into the trees.
Oh, I didn't know about that. That's funny.
I mean, it's only, I've only saw it pop up a couple times, but
Glad you didn't.
The main story is Old Man Weary. That's the crux of it.
Yeah.
Now, Old Man Weary.
Legend goes
that the idea is you're supposed to go to this road 3 times.
Yep.
On the 3rd time, you are to stop your car, and when you look in your rearview mirror, Old Man Weary is supposed to be there. And you look at him, and if you look away, every time you look back, he gets closer and closer until eventually he's in your back seat. Now,
I'm going to say, before you go any further, I'm going to say, with any sort of legend that involves a numeric value of times you have to encounter something or, you know, perform, I'm going to call bullshit. Like, I feel like if there's any credence at all to any haunting, ghosts aren't like, all right, he did 1 pass. Okay, he's on the 2nd pass. All right, guys, get ready. He's on the 3rd pass. It's fucking showtime. Let's go. I don't put any credence into the Bloody Mary 3 times into the mirror. None of that. Like, anything that's the numbers thing, nope. And
so Nick, having said that, You and I visited the road 3 times. Yes,
3 fucking times.
we
Yes,
did the loop de loop.
All right. First off,
Hold on. On that 3rd time, did we stop?
yeah, we did.
For how long?
Enough time for me to adjust the camera on the dashboard because it kept falling. Which again, you can go to Facebook and watch the videos of what happened.
Now I asked this because, as you'll see if you check that out, and Nick will attest to this, how fast you drive down that road?
40 miles.
Did you slow down at all?
Just for the goddamn bridge. So while Jake has his laughing fit right now, I'm going to fill you in. So far, Jake and I we're 2 for 2 for planning a time frame to get to a location and completely fucking that time frame up. We knew we wanted to go to Weary Road between, it was suggested, and it's probably the best suggestion, that we go between like 2 and 4 a.m. just because if we went at like 9, 10, 11, the chances of running into teenagers and or drunk teenagers was a high probability. So we decided to take a little nap come about 9:30 last night and set our alarms. And I am shaken awake by a dream, and it is exactly 3 o'clock, but my alarm was set for 2. So we get up, we get going, we get out there. I made a point to evacuate my bowels at the closest Quick Trip because I was afraid of pooping my pants.
It's a good thing you did.
I did, and it is. So we get out there, and it's 4 o'clock in the morning by the time we get out there. And I am getting more and more, I'm not going to say farther and farther away from civilization, because, I mean, you can still see, like, farm lights and that sort of stuff. And, like, actually, part of the road has, like, I'd say 5 houses or so on it.
Yep.
But you're getting out there, and it is getting creepier. So it is getting, for me, I'm to my right in my passenger seat is this giddy young child who is just like, oh, I'm so excited to see a ghost.
That's
and
me.
I'm like, shut the fuck up. Like, I'm tired. I've not had a lot of sleep lately, and I just want to get through this as quick as possible. And I had it in my head. I said, I'm not stopping on any goddamn bridge. Because the thing you left out is...
I didn't get to the bridge yet.
You didn't get to the bridge. If you want to tell that fact.
So the best part, to me, the most testable item that you can find for Weary Road is there's a bridge that goes over a small creek. Now, they didn't describe the bridge at all, and it was fucking creepy.
You can. The only instrument you need to measure the length of this bridge is a ruler.
Yeah.
You can get it. I don't even know. It is a bridge, but it is probably...
it's probably like the length.
5 rulers wide.
It's probably the length of a car, like bumper to bumper, and like a car and a half width. It's not big at all. It's creepy as all get out. Mm-hmm. But the story goes, what you're supposed to do is park on the bridge, shut your car off, shut your lights off.
Did it say what pass you're supposed to do this?
Nope,
on?
it said just do it.
Okay.
And when you go to start your car, it won't start. Now, this was the one thing that I wanted to do more than anything because it is completely testable. We drove the car to the road. We know the car starts. There's no problems with the car. We could have just shut the car off and tried it. Nick, did we stop on that bridge?
No.
Why did we not stop on the bridge?
Well, okay. I told you why I wasn't going to stop. Aside from the fact of it being creepy, I said, Jake, I'm not stopping at any goddamn bridge because if the car does turn off and we can't get it restarted, what the fuck are we going to do?
You get out in the middle of nowhere in the dark, isolated road, and you push your car.
Not doing that. I am in shorts and flip-flops, and I actually purposely chose this attire to combat you saying, hey, let's get out of the car. I chose this to specifically say to you, Jake, no, I'm in flip-flops and shorts, and I can't run.
No, we should have gotten out of the car.
So I did not stop on the bridge. I did drive 40. After the first pass, I think I maybe went 30 miles on the first pass. After the first pass, and I knew the road, I didn't drive any slower than 40 miles because
we were hauling ass.
All I wanted to do was get done with this situation, be back home, and not deal with spookiness. That's the level of credibility and professionalism you're going to get from me in most of these situations. Yeah, I'm not ashamed
Oh,
Not
it was
ashamed.
it was so funny. I was getting giddy with excitement. And the cool thing about this road, though, and the thing that I think makes it the creepiest, is it is completely at one point lined by trees that hang over the road.
The creepy factor aside, that was pretty cool. I mean, it adds to the layer of creepiness, but it is just a canopy of trees, and like I wasn't too focused on the visuals of around everything. I couldn't tell if the leaves were fully grown in or not yet, but yeah, they're tall trees. They hang over the road. It is just like a big tunnel, and then it really adds to the creep factor of everything. Now we did our first pass. Mm-hmm. We turned around. We did our second pass. Mm-hmm. We did our third pass, and I'm so upset to say that nothing happened. It hurts me to come back to this podcast and say that didn't see Old Man Weary and I didn't see a ghost at all.
Yeah, well, ghosts can't run at 40 miles an hour.
I did see, actually, you told me that going faster was a bad idea because you said it'll just pop into the car. You said maybe you should slow down because A, ghosts can't run 40 miles an hour, but at the same time, if you go faster, it might just show up in the car. And I don't know that I recall any of the conversation with you this morning because I think I tuned you out at one point because, again, I was just primarily focused on getting this experience over as quick as possible. Again, why I'm doing this podcast, I don't know. Once I figure that out also, you'll be the first to know. The one thing that was not weird, but I gotta go back and look at the video. There was some I want to say it was a pentagram. Again, you can't really make things out at 40 miles an hour.
Yeah, you should
looking at the road, but there was graffiti. I mean, there's graffiti all over the bridge, but there was a big spray painted. What I want to say it was like a giant pentagram right before you get to the tree tunnel. I'll call it.
Right.
Jay doesn't remember seeing it, but I
saw something red, but again, 40 miles an hour, it's hard to read.
I saw it 3 times. It's there. While there are no accounts of ghosts that happened, mm-hmm. The one thing that did happen on our second pass, we used someone had a horseshoe shaped driveway, and we killed the lights, turned around, and one of the two of us was futzing with the camera. Jake was like, "What is that?" And of course, I was like, "What the fuck?" And I saw something out of the left of my left peripheral moving, about even with the car. And at this point, I am I'm not going to look. I'm not going to look. I just want to get this experience over. And this is before we cross the bridge, nowhere near the covered area at all. And he's like, "What is that?" And I was like, I don't know. I don't care. I just get out of here. It was a dog. And the dog was keeping pace with the car. And it's creepy as shit. I mean, it was a very creepy thing to see. My mind was already in that zone of scared, didn't want to be there.
It was hilarious. Yeah. I had the most fun at Nick's expense.
I told Jake going into this podcast, he didn't believe me when I said my fear, I will not be hamming it up on camera or on the podcast. My fear of these places, it's a bit of a oxymoron because while I am fascinated and enamored with the paranormal, it scares the bejesus out of me. He did not fully understand.
I thought it would be more a casual creep.
Yeah, if you've listened to the Elk Mound episode, over that experience, that was we showed up there in the daytime, and then we waited till night, and he just got to experience kind of oh, okay.
It was that you could tell at first you were uh-oh, maybe. Yeah. Who knows? And I thought that was the peak level.
That was like a 2.
This was holy shit.
This is a full-blown 10 today.
See, and so the research that I've done, I haven't found any exact proof that there was even a house that got burned down out there, anything mm-hmm. like that. So the old man legend, well, creepy as all get out, unproven to possibly be real. I was gonna ask you after this what your thoughts were on the tales and if the ghost is true, but again, at 40 miles an hour.
Honestly, I would subscribe to the creature being in the trees more than I would the ghost. But again, seeing is believing, and I've yet to see.
I won't lie. I was getting excited as we got closer. I was watching the GPS and I'm like, oh, the next turn. We're on Weary Road. Here we go. And it was fun because at first it was very disappointing. It was nothing. There was some farms. It was just.
It was actually. I will attest to that. That like, at first I was like, okay, this is a bust.
Yeah. And then you get up to the first turn, and you can't really tell until you get there, but the first turn is the one with the bridge. And I don't know what I was expecting with this bridge. I guess I figured an actual bridge.
I honestly was thinking like old-timey covered bridge.
That's kind of
old-timey covered wooden bridge.
Which I knew that's not what it was, but that's what was in my brain.
I envisioned. I was like, what's the creepiest bridge I've ever seen?
Well, now it's this one.
Yeah, now it's this one.
So it's this little, but on each side each side of the bridge, there's like guard rails, and they're just graffitied to shit. And the best part is you turn, and in bright yellow paint, just two of the creepiest faces that you'd ever see. And again, I saw the big red blotch by the bridge. Didn't catch what it was, if it was your satanic symbol or not. I wouldn't put it past the teenagers or the crazy ghost people of Weary Road. But you take that turn and you're like, oh, this is creepy. And the first thing you get hit with is this sudden mass of just trees.
Yeah.
And they are tall. They're not pine trees. They're just tall, bare trunk trees. And as they're coming at you in the headlights, there's stumps that look like people. There's trees that are different shades. And so you're like, well, what's that? It's genuinely a very creepy trip to take. And I was loving every second of it.
This is this is my account of you, and I'm going to use this analogy. Driving there, okay, I don't like roller coasters at all either, so I'm not scared of them. They make me sick.
Right.
Driving there the whole way was like waiting in line, like a long Six Flags line to get on the roller coaster. Turning onto the road that you called Weary Road was like, you give the man your ticket or whatever, and he locks the bar, and you're in. Now you're locked in. You can't go anywhere.
You're there.
You're there. And as we're doing this, so like standing in line waiting for the ride, you're just like, oh, I'm getting excited. Like, oh man, I'm stoked. Like, this is gonna be so fun. And then, sitting in the car, the guy puts the bar down, you're locked in, you're just like, it's growing for you, and it's like, yeah, like, all right, like, this is great, like, I'm getting pumped, like, this is gonna be fucking awesome. And once we get past the first group of farm trees, or not farm trees, but the homes and everything, like, we're on Weary Road, it's kind of like, oh, this is bust, that would be like the going up part, I would say. You're like, oh, it's almost here. And then the fucking bridge you're at the peak of the fucking roller coaster top, and we turn the corner, and I shit you not, Jake, I think I actually heard him say, wee! As we turned the corner for the first time and got across the bridge. Now that I'm thinking back to it, that's the only thing I can equate this whole experience to, is like riding a roller coaster and Jake's just whole excitement level growing. And again, with me just being like, why am I standing in this fucking line? Why am I committing myself to locking myself in this stupid seat, going up the hill, being like, oh God, this is going to be terrible. I'm going to get sick and throw up everywhere. Like, I shouldn't have had cotton candy or French fries or poutine. Like, I'm just going to spew everywhere. And then going down the hill, and Jake is excited and I'm throwing up, and now we have to buy a $6 memorabilia photo because it's Six Flags. Like, that's the experience I went through. It lessened each time. While my anxiety lessened each pass, my speed stayed pretty constant in the car. But that was on purpose, because I just didn't want to give you a chance to be like, stop. We stopped once in the tree tunnel because the camera kept falling. And if I could have driven that road with my eyes shut, I would have. I wanted to real bad. I did check the rearview mirror several times, and there's nothing, so I was happy about that. But the camera kept falling. It was just in a bad spot. And every time because you don't drive and text, you don't drive and video, I purposely didn't want to look in the mirror, and I did every time we had to stop to deal with the camera. And yeah.
Oh, it was great. Yeah, I can attest to it was the closest thing to a wee moment that I have had where as soon as you turn into that tunnel, the tree tunnel, if you are into creepy paranormal things, your excitement level immediately goes up because you're like, this is it. This is where I'm going to see some shit.
Yeah.
And I did everything in my power to get you to stop that goddamn car. I would have gotten out and walked that road. That would have been the best thing ever. Don't shake your head at me.
You could have. I would have driven 40 miles away from you an hour, but you didn't bring it up, but I would have. And I also wouldn't have stopped to let you out either. I would have been a tuck and roll situation where it's like, oh, you want to get out and walk the road? Here, go. Shut the door. Like, that's what it would have been. Yeah. If paranormal stuff like that gives you a raging boner, like, check it out. It is a real... Again, like, it is a creepy place to check out if you've never been. I know I informed Facebook that we were going there, and several people had commented that they'd been there and stuff.
It's a pretty well known, especially like in the Evansville area, which is closer to where I live. It's a pretty well known. You say Weary Road, and most people go, "Oh yeah, that's over in that area, right? That's something with ghosts or something." Yep. So it's definitely pretty well known. And for good reason. I get it. It's creepy. It's fun. The legend. See, that's the thing too. Is it's got a nice legend.
It has all the makings of your typical not folklore, but
urban legend.
Urban legend. It's got all the typical makings of your straight up urban legends, like creepy old man that haunts a place, stop the car, the radio, and everything goes to shit. You know, the tree tunnel. The creature, like kids laughing, like it's got all the makings of that, and it delivers on the scale of delivery. I would definitely give it a 9 out of 10 for like creep factor and delivery of the creepy vibes.
Oh yeah, it was fucking awesome, and we're going back there, and we're stopping the car.
Allegedly.
No, hard confirm. We are hard yes. We are going back, and we are going to stop that there car. Because here's the thing: there's one part of it that we couldn't experience in the car, and that is you're supposed to be able to hear kids out there. Because like the legend said, some kids died in the fire. It's hard to hear kids if you roll down the window, all you hear is from the speeding vehicle. So we're going back. The look on your face right now is, I love it, and I can't wait for more of it. We have got to find some more creepy ass places like this, because I'm not gonna lie, like it started slow, but I think we're ramping up here, bud, and I am pumped for this because the look on your face, the disdain in your voice.
Let's get back to Old Man Weary for a second here. Like,
yeah.
I mean, there's probably gonna be a bunch of pedophile jokes made. But, what? Like, yeah, okay. So, like, what was the deal with the kids? Like, that's what.
I mean, maybe.
I know we've talked about it already, but like, I'm just like, yeah, was it like Michael Jackson level? Like, you know, like just come on out to my farm and pet my horses and have some of this punch.
Some of this, there's nothing laced in
Yeah,
there.
there's nothing in this punch.
Don't even worry about it. Well, I mean, the story goes that it was pretty well believed that he was, you know, diddling them kiddos.
I mean, at first, and then like.
But some of the accounts that you read of it, turns out that they later found out that no, that's not what he was doing.
But see, like, okay, so like I don't believe on either side. Like, honestly, it's not that I don't believe. I just don't care either way. Like, yeah, diddling kids is bad, and like that part I care about. But like,
hard
I
stance.
don't believe that like he was or he wasn't. Like, I know it's just part of the urban legend.
Right.
My question is like, what proof did they have? You know, post-mortem, they're like, oh, we found credible scientific evidence that he wasn't diddling kids. Like, what came to light that he's like, how can you, like, how did it go from, like, we're going to go burn this pedo Frankenstein's house down, throw whatever they did on there, burn it down, kill him and kids, allegedly, And then all of a sudden, like, I don't know, let's just throw a figure out there, like 20 years later, like, oh yeah, we fucked up. He wasn't diddling kids. like what came to light that they're like,
I mean, I'm just picturing that some kid was like, he went out there, did something, and then they're like, why'd you do that? And they're like, because old man Weary touched my penis. And then the kid, like, they burn the house down, they
Kids
kill
lie
some
all the
people.
time.
And the kid later comes out and he's like, that didn't happen, Mom. Why'd you burn the old man's house down?
I mean, yeah, it's just like, that's the part that like I find interesting or weird is just like, what happened to shed light on the fact that, yeah, you know,
Maybe it's not that something came to shed light on it. Maybe it's that they realized, like, oh, we have zero evidence. He was around a kid once, must be pedophile, burn house down.
maybe it was old man Weary's ghost was like, yo, like,
I didn't do it.
I wasn't touching kids. Like, I had a petting zoo, and I like to have the kids in the neighborhood come out here. Like,
I was unmarried, could not have children of my own. I was just sharing.
and
my
that's,
wealth.
I mean, that's a sad story when you think about it. It's like this old guy, he's like, couldn't have kids. He has a farm, so like, obviously farmers like to populate because, you know, free child labor. But like,
I never touched those kids. I did put them to work for free, but I didn't touch them.
but like, I mean, but yeah, I mean, that side of it's kind of sad. Like, he couldn't have kids of his own, so he just, you know, had the neighborhood kids come out and like, I don't know. That is a weird rabbit tangent hole that we just went down, and I didn't mean for it to happen. But I just wanted to bring up that like, that second part of it's like, oh, we might have fucked up. Like,
Well-
it's hard for me to like digest.
My thing too is, so if you go along that route of turns out, oops, didn't do it.
Yeah.
Why is he like? Is he just a dick now because they murdered him? I mean,
Yeah, is he a vengeful spirit, or is he just like? I mean, okay, so most of the accounts are of like teenagers. So like maybe he's just trying to like hang out with. Maybe that's why we didn't see him because we're in our 30s, and he's like, oh, those two are bunk. Like, they're boring. I'm not gonna hang out with them. He's always just hanging out with like teenage kids. Like, you know, maybe he's a ghost that goes to Quick Trip and buys those kids beer.
he's
You know, like maybe he's that ghost. Like,
he's sounding more and more like a pedophile. As you just like those guys are too old. Can't touch them.
I'm just saying,
Too
like,
old. I need my kids younger.
I don't know.
I can ghosts be
The
pedophiles?
last 5 minutes of this podcast has been dumb. That's my account. I'm ashamed that I got it down this road, but it has been stupid, and I don't appreciate that I brought this up.
I feel like that's just your attitude towards this whole adventure for this
Kind of
one.
is, but mainly the last 5 minutes of this podcast.
You got so terrified that you're just like, fuck it, it's all done.
I wouldn't say that. No, it's not that. It's just like, I'm just like, yeah, went down that path, but I just wanted to know, like, why the whole, oh, maybe he wasn't touching kids. I mean, the same shit happened with Michael Jackson. Like, for 20 years, it was like, he's touching him, he's not. He's touching him, he's not. He's dead. He was touching him. Now there's a documentary. We don't know anymore. Like,
Yeah.
it's kind of the same thing, but I was just like, is there a documentary on Old Man Weary? No. So what came to light that was like, you know.
I'm telling you, it was probably just some kid being like, Mom, you shouldn't have murdered that old man. And then the mom was like, yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't get it. Yeah, I don't. You're right. I mean, part of my attitude right now is just like, this whole morning was stupid.
No, it was fun, and I look forward to it. There's gonna be more.
Oh, I know. I'm still trying to have that argument with myself as to weasel my way out of this podcast for that very specific reason.
Oh, the dungeon.
Oh boy.
Oh, the dungeon.
Yeah, but yeah, I you know, why would he be haunting now? Like, actually, to be honest, like, when we go back, I definitely want to, like, because the creature in the trees was like the thing that just caught my interest. I didn't.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. It says that there's just something that's supposed to be in the trees.
Yeah, and that is like super interesting to me. Like, even though that shit still scares the hell out of me too, but like, that's.
What if it wasn't a dog?
You know, I've already had that thought. Actually, what did I say this morning? I was like, so I've never had a paranormal experience, but like, when people, sometimes you hear people say like, oh, that ghost was as real as me sitting right here next to you. Like, so part of my brain was like, and still is like, that dog looked real. Mm-hmm. Maybe it was a ghost dog.
Maybe.
I don't know. I didn't stop a car to find out. I wasn't about to either. But it's very possible that it could have just been,
Oh, we
know.
should have stopped the car.
Yeah, well, shoulda, coulda, woulda, we didn't.
Oh, there's still
But
time.
No,
We're going back.
well, okay. Begrudgingly.
So you got anything else on Weary Road?
No, I think you about picked on me enough for this episode.
Oh, I'm excited thinking about it again.
This whole okay. I just realized after this experience that this whole podcast is going to come down to nothing more than go to a creepy place and you just picking on me the entire fucking episode. Like, here's like 2 slivers of history. Like, oh yeah, there's a creepy old pedophile. Hey, Nick's a fucking coward. like, I'm all about being transparent and being like, yeah, man, like, that shit scares me. But now I just realize the folly of my ways, signing up for this shit, and it's like, this is just a vehicle for Jake to pick on me now. And probably everyone else out there.
No, it's gonna be good times.
Yeah, for you.
I mean, as long as we can get the car stopped next time. I'm worried that the next time we go to a haunted house, we're just gonna fly past it and be like, there we went.
Yep.
Yep.
Call Randy. Ask him about the experience at the haunted house.
We're going to a haunted house.
Randy can tell you.
Oh, I'm excited for all of this now. So that's Weary Road, creepy pedophile.
You be the judge.
I mean,
Did he or did he not?
we're gonna just have a whole new list of people Google didn't touch him or not.
We're probably on a list already.
Oh, definitely.
Yep. Don't listen to this podcast.
No, listen to
There's
it
a bunch
and
of preverts talking about whether or not people diddled kids. That's what it's going to be.
oh, so if they want to get a hold of us, Nick, how do they do that?
Oh, yeah. Forgot about all that. You can get in touch with us on all the normal socials. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram.
He's so flustered.
You can contact us at
Grinder, Tinder, gotta get that joke back in there.
Grinder, Tinder, we're on there. Again, plenty of fish.
Christian Mingle. And now Farmers Mingled.
Yeah, Farmers Mingle. We did just make a Farmers Mingle account. Well, I thought it was the perfect vehicle. Like, what better way to go check out haunted farms and shit? Like,
And to mingle with farmers.
like all we gotta say is like two 30-year-old dudes looking for a haunted house, haunted farm. Like that's all we gotta do in our ad. And
Plentyofhaunts.com.
oh, dude, just think about it. Like Farmer Mingle. Like, dude, if we just put out the ad that said 2 relaxed 30-year-old dudes looking for a creepy farm to hang out in, dude,
We would get one email and then never be heard from again.
Also, I forgot to mention this in other podcasts, but you can also listen to our podcast on YouTube and also at America's Scaryland. I think I already mentioned Gmail. If you'd like to get in touch with us and share any of your experiences or suggest any place for us, once again, America's Scaryland, 1S. It is shares the America and the Scaryland share custody of it full time.
The only thing America shares.
Yep. And
So it's AmericasScaryland at thegmail.com.
at thegmail.com. Yeah. I'm going to just shout out to Randy Stewart because I've mentioned his name a couple times in this podcast. Thanks, Randy, for being my human shield. You're the best. Appreciate you.
Next time, push him first.
You guys, thanks for listening. Please like, subscribe, share, get this out there. Let people know you enjoy it. If you don't, just say, hey, here's 2 idiots talking about pedophiles. See if that angle works. I mean, it might.
You have broken this episode down to just the wrong topic.
I mean, it's what happens when you put me in a fucking car and take me to a desolate road in the middle of nowhere.
Nick's all butthurt.
3 in the morning. Oh, that's a funny pedophile joke, Jake.
Okay, okay, bye, Nick.
Bye, Jake.